Hello, this is Jamie Magritte. Welcome to Jamie's Craft Table. Today I'm going to show you how I made this card. And I'm going to change the colors just slightly. This was the original one I did. And I really like this, the lightness of these, but this wasn't quite as dark. So I tried darker colors here. I like these colors better, but I like the darker color here. So we'll do a combination of the both. Okay, and we're using hand pen petals, which is a new to me stamp set. It's not a new one, but it's new to me, so that's what I'm using today. As far as colors, I have Memento Black, Bermuda Bay, that's the one I'm going to use for the background for the thanks, Tahtian Tide, Parakeet Party, Polished Pink, those are all in colors, and then Mango Melody for my yellow or orange. Okay, and then I have a strip of vellum. It's 1 inch wide. I think this is 6.5 inches. It really doesn't matter as long as it's wide enough to go beyond the edge of your card. Okay, I have a 2.5 by 3 3/4 inch piece of white, a black piece which is 2 3/4 by 4 inches, a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of Bermuda Bay, a black layer which is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and my card base which is thick, which is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, and I've scored and folded it at 4 1/4. The only other thing we're going to need is a bow of the gingham ribbon. This is the last of my gingham ribbon. You'll notice on this one it's similar, but it's wider. I bought this at a big box store. And then we're going to bring in, forgot to bring them over here, some sequins. Hopefully they're here. If not, we'll use something else. Maybe we'll use those ones. These are left over from a paper pumpkin. Okay, so let's get started with our stamping. The first thing I want to stamp is my vellum strip. And the reason for that is because I want to make sure that it has a little bit of time to dry. If it doesn't dry, then I'm going to bring in my embossing, clear embossing powder and emboss it, which has been the case so far. Okay, so I want to kind of measure. I know this is going to be over in this vicinity where I want my thanks to be. It's basically in the center here, I guess. So let's stamp that first. And again, this is a 1 inch strip of vellum. And I'm going to stamp that with the Memento. Now I could use the Stays On, but I'm not sure it would dry any faster. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and stamp that right in the center. Perfect. Let's set that aside to dry. And while I have the black out, I'm going to bring in this layer, which is 2 1/2 by 3 3/4. And I'm going to stamp this large flower image. Since it's large, I'm going to bring the stamp pad to it. Okay. Stamp that right in the center. Doesn't really matter which way you stamp it. I'm just going to twist it just a hair so I get the whole thing on there. Put it down. Make sure it's making contact everywhere. Let it sit for a moment. And then take it off. Perfect. Okay, that's all I'm going to do for the Memento ink, so I can put that away. Okay, then let's set this aside for just a minute. Let's bring in this piece. This is 4 by 5 1/4 inches. And let's bring in the Bermuda Bay. So it's tone on tone. It's going to be the same color ink. And Where did my thanks go? There it is. And I'm going to stamp this. And I forgot a scratch paper, so let me bring in one. Because you're going to stamp off the page a little bit. And it doesn't matter if you like go at an angle, that looks nice too. Whatever you prefer. Okay, so set that aside. Let's bring in this piece here. I guess we're going to use the Tahitian tide for the flowers. So let's start with the polished pink, the largest flower. And these stamps are not designed to line up exactly. If you line up that center, you pretty much got it lined up. Very nice. Okay. And we're going to go with the Tahitian tide and these two little double flowers here. It's just one stamp. There you go. Okay, so we're going to stamp those. I didn't get that lined up at all, but it really doesn't matter. Okay, so now that color, and then let's do the these flowers. They're two different stamps, but we're going to use the same color for that. I might need to order a new ink pad for this one. I don't know what's wrong with it, but it's kind of yucky. There we go. All right. And we'll bring in the parakeet party for the leaves. There's a large leaf here. We'll do these two large leaves down here. And I'm going to actually turn the leaf over for this one. Okay, and then there's another little small leaf. I'm just going to stamp these. This one doesn't really turn over the same, so I'm just going to stamp all the rest of the little leaves. And that one I didn't even get stamped well, but it doesn't really matter. That's what's nice about this. This would be a great stamp set for a beginner stamper, or for someone that doesn't think they can color, because it doesn't have to be perfect. That's what's awesome about it. Okay, so that's our stamping. Let's see if this is dry. This is not dry. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in clear embossing powder. I didn't do the embossing buddy, but that's alright. We're going to put clear embossing powder right over that because it's still wet ink. It's not going to be as sticky as Versamark would be, but it works very well. Put this away. Okay, I'm bring in my heat tool. Okay, we're going to heat this up. I've got it on the first setting, so I don't want to burn my vellum. But once my heat tool warms up, it'll emboss just fine. Come on. There it goes. See how it went from cloudy to real nice, rich, dark color? I actually might need to put it on a dark. There we go. I'm going to hit it from the bottom. Make sure that's all nice and melted. Looks good. Okay. Now we can assemble this card. It's really a very simple one. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is, let's take this 2 3/4 by 4 inch piece of black. We're going to take our 2 1/2 by 3 3/4 inch piece that we stamped, and we're going to mount that onto there. I'm just using the Mono multi-glue, but you can use whatever adhesive you prefer. I like this because if I don't get it on square, I can move it around just enough to get it where I want it. Okay, so there's that piece. And then we're going to bring in this piece and the 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 inch piece of black. We're going to adhere those together. There's an 1/8 of an inch border on all of these pieces because they were a 1/4 inch difference in size. Okay. Now we're going to adhere this piece to the front of this, where we want to put it. I think I want it right there. That's good. You could use dimensionals if you wanted at this point. Okay, now we're going to bring in our sentiment. We're going to figure out where we want to put it. And then I'm going to literally just wrap that around the edge on the back side. Give it a nice crease, make sure it's straight. And for this, I'm going to come in with a little bit of basic household tape. Wrapping, you know, the tape you use for wrapping gifts. I'm just going to tape that across the back. And this is going to get adhered to the front of our card. All right, I'm going to bring in a glue dot for the bow, and that's the easiest way to adhere them. And decide if you want where you want your bow to be. My original card, I put it over here. I think I want this one over here. Okay, we're going to bring in those sequins. We're going to put one in the center of each flower. we go. There's the card we just made together. Here's the one I did previous. Again, I did one bow on one side, one bow on the other side. So there you go. Well, thanks for joining me today at Jamie's Craft Table. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope you can find a little bit of time to play with some stamps, ink, and paper.